Hi everyone, so in this video we're going to take you through wire wrapping and how to do it for your fashion and jewellery assignment. So we have already done some designs on our pieces of paper here. Really important to do because it's quite tricky to actually shape the wire, and we've got a circle that is 2 size, so it is quite a large earring. So as long as your design isn't going out of the border there, you'll have quite a large earring. And it also works, you can lay it down and trace and kind of sit the wire on top to make sure that you're kind of following your pattern so that you're going to get a good, in my case, little flower. Like those. Yeah. So when working with wire, there's a different gauge for each wire. So the gauge is the thickness of it. So this here is 18 gauge, and we are also working with 20 and 22 gauge wire. So the wire thickness, the smaller the gauge, the bigger the wire. So 18 gauge is about 1 millimeter thick.
You can sort of tell the difference there. One's smaller.
Bit thinner.
20 gauge.
Yeah. So we've got silver, we have gold, black and rose gold wire that you can be working with today. When working with wire, you will need long nose pliers. We have a few different pairs. One's a bit more rounded and one's a bit more square. And then you'll also need some wire cutters as well to be able to cut your work.
The design, we've got to do it all in one line. So your design needs to be able to be drawn all in one line without taking your pencil off, because that's how you will create your shape. And you also need to include somewhere where a little loop will be, which is where you'll hang your shepherd's ear.
Little hook.
Yeah. So there needs to be a loop. So for the flowers, the loop is in one of the petals, and that's part of the design, so you don't take your pencil off.
And then you'll be looking at where you're starting and stopping as well, trying to stop and start in a place that's not so noticeable, and also being careful because the end of the wire can be quite sharp, so you don't want to be having any sharp points that might cut yourself with. So we are going to shape our creations off of the spool of wire here. So we're not actually going to cut a length of it. It's best to do it this way if you can, because it's more sustainable and we can avoid heaps of wastage. However, some of you that might not be the case, and you might have to cut a length and shape it, and then with the leftovers you might be able to be creative and make a smaller little design. To start off, we've got our designs next to us, and it's up to you where you start. So based on your design, I am making another pair of these earrings here, these flowers. So I'm going to start in the middle, okay? I'm going to start in the middle, and on one of my petals I'm going to end up doing a loop. So I'm going to start by having the pliers facing towards me and then just maneuvering the edge of the wire just to make a little kind of twist in the middle.
While she's doing that, you'll see that the wire bends quite a bit, so it is hard. So mine's already got a bend in it. If I want to undo that, wire is known as having memory, so it will still probably have a little kink in there.
So one little petal there. Yeah, so it's trying not to manipulate it too much. Otherwise it will, stay like that for quite a bit. And it's up to you. I hold mine, but then sometimes I also find it easier to actually move the wire around and stop and like hook it into itself if it's not sitting properly. Yeah, and then as you're going, checking that, see that's a little bit big, that petal, so just making sure that you're staying within that little template so that you're not making earrings that are absolutely massive.
And things don't need to be perfect. Organic shapes and lines look really cool. It's what we're attracted to. So on my original design, you can see I'm sort of getting a little bit more of a, not a perfect circle there. That's what I wanted my original design to be. That's okay. I actually think that looks pretty cool at the moment. Yeah,
everyone, when we've worn these earrings, has really complimented on how imperfect is sometimes perfect. So that's what you want to make sure you're trying to achieve. This wire is also tarnish resistant, so if any of you have ever bought like cheap earrings from Lavisa or something and they turn like green and greeny bluey colour, this wire won't do that, so it doesn't discolour and it's quite good quality as well. can be kind of awkward to shape your wire with the spool hanging below, so it's just taking your time.
Still a bit of practice.
Yeah.
I like to hold my pliers, or little tool here, coming from behind like this. I just find I have a little bit more control and can see what I'm doing as I'm going. So I'm similar to a flower, I guess, but it's a little bit more of a sun, and then I can move things a little bit more.
Just have to also be careful when working with the wire that you're being gentle with the pliers, because it does have the tendency to scratch, and I know the colour does come off there if you've been a bit rough with the pliers.
Just remember to add your loop in somewhere.
I've tried to add my little loop in just at the top there. And they're never going to be perfect. They're never going to be the same as well. Obviously, if you're making earrings, you're making a pair, and people won't notice they're on each side of your face. So.
And so far, I've probably got to do my loop somewhere here.
Yeah, I need to figure out to finish mine off. So when you have finished your design and you are happy with it, remembering that if you're not super happy with one of the like the petals in my instance, you can try to manipulate it, but you can't overdo it, because like Miss Philippa said, wire does have memory, so otherwise you're going to end up with really wobbly lines and probably scratches all over it. So when it comes time, you'll need wire cutters, and when cutting with the wire cutters, make sure it is a straight cut, not on an angle. That's the best way to try and avoid any pointy edges on your product there. I'm now going to tuck in my little edge and bend it around so that it's not going to point anyone.
They look awesome. Very cool.
There
I'm
we
nearly
go.
there with mine.
Looks good. Oh, your little loop looks good.
Yeah, made it part of the design.
Yeah, so it's important as you're going to be using your template to kind of trace over it. That way it'll help you keep the shape of what you are wanting to make, and then you can look to make sure that your earrings aren't going to be huge, and also keep them uniform. You don't want one that's massive and one that's a lot smaller. You want them roughly the same size. Now this wire wrapping doesn't just have to be for earrings. You could make something and then attach it to like a hairpiece, like a clip that we have. You could attach it as a brooch. You could, even with this wire, make your own little pendant. You could make your own fastenings instead of using the ones provided by the school. So there's heaps of things that you can do, and you might also want to think about adding beads into it as well. So I know for the flowers, a lot of beads can get threaded on the center or even dangling on some of the petals there, just to add a bit more to the design. If you do end up cutting your wire, and if you do have a little bit left over, part of the design process gets you to look at creating some designs. So that's good. Creating some designs out of small offcuts. So not all earrings have to be huge. It might be a simple little spiral that you make with this much of an offcut of wire, and that's how we can work sustainably with it, because it's not cheap to do this stuff, so we don't want to have heaps of wastage, and it allows you to be creative with smaller designs. So when you've finished your design, there is a way that you are able to work harden your wire. So they can be quite flimsy and quite flexible. So what we do is we put it between two bits of wood, and we actually, using a wooden mallet, do a big hammer. You can flip it over, and it stiffens the wire. It compacts it together so that it's not as flimsy for when you actually wear it as a piece of jewellery.
Can't wait to put them on.
And then you are now ready to add on your little fastenings. Yeah, so we have all of the little shepherd's hooks in here. We have heaps of different colours, and you then need your pliers. Again, you'll have to open up the little hook here at the bottom of your little shepherd's hook.
Oh, I can't wait to put these on.
And thread it onto your earring, and then close it up. And then you have a functional piece of jewellery right there. So making obviously 2 of them so that you can make a pair. And there's heaps of different designs you can go for.
Yeah.
Love it. Little black ones, little suns. Yeah.
Once you get used to manipulating the wire, you can do some really cool face shapes. You can even do like little loops for hair within the line. It just takes a bit of practice to get.
Yeah, to hold it in front of you with the pliers facing towards you is definitely the best way. And you can even move your hand, hold the pliers still and move your hand around the wire. So yeah.
I'm going to make the other one now.
We hope this video was helpful. Thank you everyone.
Have fun.